Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, December 2, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar at the bottom of the video. Please ensure that you skip through the video. Nobody is forcing you all to sit through the entire 40 to 50 minute video. Utilize the timestamps that are also in the video description as well as the comments so that you can skip to the part of the video that you want to see the most. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's get some expert insights from Ben Noel. If you don't know by now, he's one of the persons on Twitter that you should be following. He is very accurate when it comes to the hurricane season and the long range forecast. And if we actually remember, he made a post in June about the precipitation forecast that would have been expected for the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. We're talking about August through to, I believe, October. And he highlighted the greens that were stretching from Africa all the way across the main development region into the Caribbean that we know represents above average rainfall. So he made a post right here on the last day of hurricane season. I don't know how I missed this one, but he stated, hurricane season is officially over. It was hyperactive. This map superimposes the 18 named storms with the 6-month rainfall forecast from June. The guidance did a good job highlighting the Caribbean Sea and Gulf hotspots, but wasn't bullish enough with Gulf Coast landfalls. So this is the image that he's highlighting. He's highlighting the forecast in terms of the rainfall that we know is represented by the green, the above normal rainfall, stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. Look at the Caribbean into Central America right here. The darkest greens represents the most rainfall. And we definitely got a lot of that across Jamaica into Central America right there. And he also highlighted all of the storms as well as the hurricanes as represented by all of these colorful lines. And he also stated that many of these systems made it into the United States, but the rainfall forecast wasn't really perfect across the Gulf of Mexico. But the rainfall forecast was definitely perfect in terms of the numerous tropical waves that went across the main development region. And that very red line right there that we know had to do with Hurricane Beryl that passed to the south of us, as well as the amount of moisture that we got from Raphael in the orange right there to the west of Jamaica. So you know that we're definitely gonna be keeping up to date with anything that Ben Noel posts on his Twitter page for sure. It's only a matter of time before he highlights what's expected for the 2025 hurricane season, and I'll definitely be here waiting keenly, and whatever he posts I'll definitely highlight it here on Weather Jamaica. So we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days hold in terms of precipitation. You know the drill. We're going to be looking at the Euro model first, and we're going to be going on to the next 168 hours. Then we're going to be looking at what the GFS model is showing. And as usual, we're looking for all of this that we see on the key on the right, the reds, all the way into the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represent moisture, the amount of rainfall. And we know it's represented in inches, greens 1 inch, the yellows all the way up to 6 inches of rainfall, all the way up to 20 inches of rainfall in the reds. And we're going to be focusing our attention right here across the Caribbean, and we know that we have Jamaica right here, so keep your eyes peeled for what's to come. So as we head into Tuesday, we see that there's going to be an abundance of moisture, especially across northeastern Jamaica. Lots of rainfall coming for Portland, St. Mary. It has already started since Sunday, but it's going to be even more robust on Tuesday. You can see a lot of that rainfall that's already been lashing portions of eastern Honduras, section of Nicaragua and Costa Rica, as well as Panama. Definitely going to be even more robust as we head into Tuesday. We can see it all already on the infrared satellite images. Look at all of the high cold cloud tops representing all of the thunder shower activity already lashing portions of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and eastern Honduras. And there's a lot more of that to come as we head into Tuesday. So this is showing Tuesday heading into Wednesday. Still see a lot of rainfall coming into portions of Jamaica. Definitely going to be causing some flash flooding as we head into Wednesday. And Thursday, we see the line of showers stretching from Hispaniola all across Jamaica into Central America as we head into Thursday. This is 18th on Thursday, December 5, which is actually 1 p.m. Lots of rainfall coming. Heading into Friday, we still see some lingering showers, but it's definitely letting up for sure. Saturday, bit more whites than anything else, even though we still have some lingering greens that represent some amount of shower activity. Heading into Sunday, some of the rainfall still left over to the south of us, but we can still get in on some brief afternoon rainfall right there. But we're going to be stopping right there at 12Z on a Monday, December 9. That's actually 7 a.m. on Monday. And we see that there's going to be moisture still plaguing northern Hispaniola into Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of the Caribbean into Central America, and still section of northeastern Jamaica. But let us match what we just saw on the Euromodel to the latest GFS supercomputer models that just came out an hour ago. Well, even less than an hour ago, considering that it is 6:20 p.m. right now. So the videos can definitely come out sooner than normal, considering that we don't have any more updates to get from the US National Hurricane Center. We usually wait for those to come out between 6 and 7 before we actually get the camera rolling, but no more 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook coming out, so the videos can definitely start coming out sooner for sure. So we can see that as we head into Tuesday, just like what the Euro is showing, there's going to be a lot of moisture coming into especially northeastern Jamaica. We're talking about St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe even spilling into section of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Thomas. But it's more so going to be confined to northeastern parishes. You can also see the rainfall also plaguing portion of eastern Cuba, the Bahamas, and we see a lot of rainfall still expected across sections of Central America. Tuesday into Wednesday, we see that there's not much change. Lots of moisture. Thursday as well, just like what the Euro model was showing. Friday still have lingering rainfall into Saturday, Sunday, and then we're right here on Monday, December 9th, just like what the Euro ended with. And we see the consensus and we see the differences. We see that there's going to be some rainfall stretching into Central America still. Rainfall to the south of Hispaniola, across the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. Some rainfall still going to be plaguing northeastern Jamaica. We see the consensus, we see the differences for sure. We see a frontal system right here across Texas all the way up into the central portion of the US. The GFS has the frontal system more so across the Gulf of Mexico into the eastern portion of the US. So yes, we see some similarities and we see some differences by the end of the next 7 days. But what the main takeaway is that there's going to be a lot of rainfall, especially across northeastern Jamaica. Let us highlight this on the latest accumulated precipitation forecast maps that have not changed much, just to show that there is consensus, there's agreement on the models for a lot of rainfall stretching all the way from the southern Bahamas into eastern Cuba, all the way down into southern Belize, Nicaragua, well, not Nicaragua, Guatemala, section of northern Honduras, eastern Nicaragua, section of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. We see all of this stretching all the way back up into the northern portion of Hispaniola, all the way out to sea, especially for northeastern Jamaica. I mean, look at the dark reds. We know all of that represents the 2 inches of rainfall. You know, the purples represents up to 3 inches of rainfall. The pinks, 4 to 5 inches of rainfall. The peach color, 6 to 7 inches of rainfall. That's a lot of rainfall, and it's not like it's just the Euro model that's showing that, but the GFS is showing something similar, especially across Central America. They're going to be getting a lot more rainfall. So too northeastern Jamaica on the GFS, eastern Cuba, northern Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Lots of rainfall definitely coming our way. And if we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast, We spoke about this in yesterday's video. All of this rainfall is especially going to be affecting Portland, St. Mary, and St. Anne because of the northeasterly flow that the frontal system is going to be causing, bring a lot more relief, rainfall. And trust me, there are going to be times when all of the rainfall is lashing Portland, St. Mary, and St. Anne. And there's nothing really going on the south coast. There are going to be times like that. But there are also going to be times when some of these clouds break out and affect sections of some southern parishes. For sure, St. Thomas, maybe section of St. Andrew, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon. But clearly it's going to be more so confined to Portland, St. Mary, and St. Anne. And we see the amount of rainfall that's to come. We see the yellows into the oranges, the pinks into the reds, into the purples. That represents all the way up to 280 millimeters of rainfall. On the Euro, the GFS showing all the way up to 171 millimeters of rainfall. GFS is a bit more reserved with the rainfall forecast, but that's still a lot of rainfall to come, especially for northeastern parishes. So get ready if you live in those areas, if you have friends or relatives who live or work in those areas. Just know that it is coming for sure, and the strong wind definitely going to be picking up if it already hasn't across the north coast. Lots of winds, might even feel Christmas breeze-ish for sure, because there is a lot of cooler than average temperatures right across the northwestern Caribbean as we speak. So some of this might definitely seep into portions of Jamaica. We're going to be talking more about the temperatures later on, but get ready for the abundance of rainfall that is to come for the remainder of this week across the north coast. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have the blue spike lines right here across the northern section of North Atlantic associated with cold fronts. We can also see a broken orange line right here, stretching all the way into northern Haiti, and the Turks and Caicos associated with a trough. We can make out the isobars right here around the ridge of high pressure, indicating that strong northeasterly flow. We can see the other ridge of high pressure right here that is sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean for sure, right there. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely make out all of these entities. The low level flow of the clouds from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see those low level patches of clouds pushing into portion of the Leeward Islands and pushing to the south of Puerto Rico from east to west. And we can also make out the flow of the low level clouds right in here to the west of Jamaica, associated with that northeasterly flow of winds behind that frontal system that ridge of high pressure is going to be causing. There's some ridge of high pressure somewhere in here that's going to be causing a lot of strong northeasterly winds for sure. And we see that we still have a lot of moisture plaguing portion of Central America associated with the lingering trough that was affecting portion of Jamaica last week with a lot of rainfall. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, December 2, 2024. It was stated that rain was in the forecast for parts of some northeastern parishes. And then, some of the rainfall would have affected a section of some southern parishes during Monday afternoon. And we know northeastern parishes, we're basically talking about Portland, St. Mary, and maybe even sections of St. Anne. Those are the northeastern parishes for sure. And it was predicted that would have gotten on some afternoon rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. You know, we're talking about St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmorland. And what ended up happening? A post was made here on our Twitter page, Weather Jamaica, and I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page, weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page, Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page, Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the post that was made at around 7:01 a.m. highlighting the visible satellite image of Jamaica. And we definitely saw the clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated shores, a section of some northern parishes for sure. Definitely across Portland, some rainfall out to sea. Some of this definitely came in on land if it wasn't already affecting a portion of the island in the early morning hours before the sun came up. And we definitely saw what took place as the day progressed. Even although no posters made throughout the day, we definitely saw that northeasterly kind of flow across the island. We saw the clouds, especially across the northwest. We saw the clouds across Portland. We're seeing some clouds across even section of eastern St. Thomas. And we saw what was taking place before all was said and done with the sunlight. I mean, look at the clouds right here into Trelawney, St. James, as well as even section of Manchester and St. Elizabeth right there. We definitely got in on some brief isolated thunder shower activity across sections of St. Elizabeth too, and eastern St. Thomas for sure. So we definitely had rainfall across northern Jamaica, more so northeastern parishes, maybe even section of Trelawney, section of St. James. So I guess it was more confined to especially northern Jamaica rather than just northeastern Jamaica, as well as sections of St. Elizabeth and eastern St. Thomas. Those were the spots that picked up the most in the way of some isolated afternoon rainfall today, but it definitely verified definitely that rainfall for northern Jamaica and some isolated shores for section of some southern parishes. And we didn't see much in the way of some thunderstorms, as we can see here on the infrared satellite images. Just a few of the high cloud tops being sheared off to the northeast by that upper level wind shear. You can definitely see even a sparkling white dot somewhere in here to the south of St. Elizabeth to indicate that there was some isolated afternoon thunder shower that pushed out to sea before all was said and done with the day. And we definitely have confirmation here to show that the corporate era was definitely sunny today. I work in the corporate era. Definitely saw how sunny it was looking down on, I believe this is the, what do you call it? Near the National Stadium. Some kind of, what do you call this place? I don't even remember. But we can see definitely sunny conditions. I think this was the place where I did my vaccination, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, somewhere near National Stadium for sure. We can definitely see that it was sunny for the most part for the majority of the day across the corporate area. This is as of 1:41 p.m. Showing the panoramic city view from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica. They have these live streams up 24/7 for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we've been getting the rainfall from last night all the way up to this point. We're talking about northern Jamaica, especially the northeast. We're talking about Portland, St. Mary, and then the afternoon rainfall across the southwestern portions. We're talking about section of St. Elizabeth, maybe southern Manchester getting in on some of the action for sure. This map isn't 100% accurate, but it does paint quite the picture of where we had the rainfall today. And we definitely have confirmation that in Kingston it was sunny for the most part. We had some comments here on our Instagram page. One from God's _favorite daughter 646 stating Kingston sunny, posted 9 hours ago. And Inderjeet _Aurora1. What about Kingston? Well, at that time Kingston was definitely sunny for sure. If we take a look here at a post from the National Works Agency, they posted today at 1:14 p.m. They've stated the NWA announces the closure of the Hampton Court to Dalvin Main Road in St. Thomas. The NWA's technical team is now conducting the necessary damage assessment with a view to having the situation remedied in short order. So they've stated here, let me load up the image in general. Alright, so they've stated The National Works Agency (NWA) is advising that a section of the Hampton Court to Dalvey Main Road in the vicinity of the Cheswick community in St. Thomas is now closed to vehicular traffic. This follows persistent rainfall that has severely undermined a section of the roadway. The NWA's technical team is now conducting the necessary damage assessment with a view to having the situation remedied in short order. During the period of closure, motorists traveling to Dalvey from the direction of Golden Grove should make a left onto Duckenfield Road after passing the St. Thomas Technical High School, then continue to Jean Ash Road before making a left turn onto Water Lane Gully Bridge and continue straight to Dalvey Square. Motorists are being urged to obey the posted warning sign. So they're basically highlighting the fact that basically there has been damage to roadways, if not bridges, because of the rainfall that the trough brought. And that's expected. We've been talking about the flood rainfall that the trough could have brought or could have caused in general, and we definitely had that last week. But we can see that for the most part, majority of it has ended. But look at what's coming for the North Coast. Lots more rainfall in general, but it's not going to be anything like what the trough brought at all. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite image, we're going to be looking at the latest still image. And we can see the latest still image just came out at 23:25 UTC. So this just came out 10 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:35 p.m. right now. And we can see that we still have the cloud tops right here blowing off to the northeast because of the thunderstorm out to sea to the south of St. Elizabeth. And we can see more milky white colors across the entirety of the island in general. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar image, let us see what's underneath all of that. If it will load and show me the latest. If it's not glitched out, oh no, it's glitched out. Alright, there we have it. So the latest Cuban Doppler radar image was as of 5:20 p.m. Boy, I don't know why this website loves to glitch out like this. Come on. I wonder if I do something about it, if it might make a difference. Let me see. Nope. Doesn't seem like it. I was going to try to clear the cache. Maybe that would have fixed the issue, but nope. So, well, we can see some rainfall to the south of St. Elizabeth. So I guess it's making up for what we just saw on the infrared. That might have brought the thunderstorms to the south of St. Elizabeth there that we saw on the satellite. And we can see some rain bands to the south of eastern Cuba. Look at the greens into the yellows. That represents some moderate to heavy rainfall. Can we see that here? No, we can't make it out. I guess it's out of the view. But look at this. We're looking at the latest Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar. We can make out some rainfall right there. And look at the direction it's pushing towards Portland and St. Mary. And it's moving fast. Look at that. Look at the direction, definitely pushing southwestward. So maybe some of this rainfall could make it into sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland later on tonight. Who knows? Maybe by the time this has been uploaded, the rainfall has already started. You can also see some rainfall right here across the western peninsula of Haiti. Definitely some moderate to heavy rainfall for sure in the greens and the yellows. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, not seeing much of anything happening right now. Just some dots of rainfall to the far south of Grand Cayman. Nothing significant happening across the Cayman Islands, Cuba, or Western Jamaica right now. If we take a look at the very latest halfway tree cam, the live camera showing 6:37 p.m. You can see people walking about, going about their business. People in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely going to be a fair night tonight. But let's see if some of that rainfall that's pushing from Cuba might spill into section of Jamaica, maybe even make it as far south as Kingston and St. Andrew. Will it cross all those hills and mountains to the north of St. Andrew? We shall see. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Could definitely be warmer than that. But we see that by the time we head into 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should be down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this is what we were talking about earlier. Look at the below average temperatures as represented by the blues into the greens and the purples, all the way up into the blues again, and I think that's some kind of other purple. Look at this. All of this is representing what we see on the key on the right. Way below normal temperatures behind that frontal system that's somewhere in here. And we can definitely see some of it. Maybe even spilling into section of northern or northwestern Jamaica. Just some light shades of blues, nothing significant. And this is valid for AT&Z on Tuesday, December 3. We're talking about 1 p.m. For the most part, we can see Jamaica embedded in the gray colors. We can see southern Jamaica maybe embedded in some slight yellows, while northwestern Jamaica embedded in some slight blue. So Jamaica is smack dab in the middle. And we know the average temperatures, that's the zero. The average temperatures for the month of December across Jamaica are around 87 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, that's about 30.6 degrees Celsius. So given the temperature forecast, we should be receiving anywhere from, let's say, 29 to 31 degrees Celsius for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday, December 3. If we take a look at what's expected from the Jamaica Public Service in terms of the maintenance outages, we know that anywhere that's going to be experiencing any outages could definitely be exacerbated with the lack of fan or AC to cool us down. So we definitely have to highlight this. I definitely learned my lesson because boy, I was sick and I didn't go to work in Kingston, and I stayed home, and I wish I had checked the My JPS Twitter page highlighting the maintenance outages, because boy, they actually announced that my area would have been without electricity all day that day, and I was definitely here without AC and fan to cool me down, burning up in the heat. Either way, they've stated that Dulwich Avenue as well as Old Church Road in St. Andrew will be receiving power outages between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. They've also stated that Savannah Cross in Clarendon will be experiencing a maintenance outage from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we're talking about Tuesday, December 3rd. You're talking about Tuesday, guys. We also have Prospect to Pell River in Hanover, 9:15 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. as well as University Crescent in St. Andrew, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you live in those areas, if you work in those areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in those areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. And we know the drill. In order to beat the heat, we have some tips right here. When you're outside, always seek shade. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress how important it is to always keep hydrated throughout the day. Put away the sugary drinks. Drink water throughout the day instead. If we take a look at the dry air map, this map is showing all the dry air across the basin as we speak, and we can see the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. And we can see the dry air right here across the Bahamas, northwestern Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, off the east coast of the United States. Dry air extending into portions of the east central Caribbean, the eastern Caribbean, as well as the main development region all the way back to Africa, as well as the Azores Islands up towards the north. Lots of dry air. We see the most moist air in the blues across the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, the southwestern Caribbean, including Jamaica. Lots of moist air, which explains all the rainfall that we've been receiving. I mean, look at the southern US, lacking any clouds at all. Dry air. Cuba, dry. The Bahamas, dry. Mexico, dry. And it's all right here. We can see it on the satellite images right here. All of these areas are lacking any moisture. We're talking about Cuba, the northern Bahamas. You're talking about the southern and eastern coast of the United States. Section of Mexico, dry. The most moist areas that are actually receiving some amount of rainfall. We're talking about eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, sections of Jamaica, all the way down into Central America. That's where the most moisture is located as we speak. Alright. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we can definitely see that North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, as well as majority of South America, as well as Central America, definitely in the clear. Jamaica right here, we're definitely in the clear because all of the browns that represent the Saharan dust are across the waters of the main development region, as well as Africa right there. Some of this Saharan dust starting to seep into section of northeastern South America. We're talking about section of Guyana, Suriname, as well as French Guiana, but it's more so on the lighter shades of brown side. So most of those people won't even notice that Saharan dust, and we're glad that it is that not so intense plume of dust, because we know the intense plume is represented by the dark shades of browns that we know can trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses. We're talking about asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So that's the forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday in terms of Saharan dust. But in terms of the waves, this is the wave forecast for tomorrow. And we can see Jamaica getting on more blues than anything else. We're talking about 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, like what we see on the key on the bottom. But we're seeing more purple starting to show up across the Western Caribbean as well as the Southwestern Caribbean. That represents up to 2, maybe even 3 meter wave heights. Even right here off to the east of the Caribbean, lots of high wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be starting to kick up across the waters to the east of the Caribbean as well as the Western Caribbean. Look at the yellows. You know, wherever we have the yellows, we're talking about anywhere from 20 all the way up to maybe 30 knot winds. And we can see that strong northeasterly flow across, especially the Cayman Islands. They're going to be getting on some strong winds tomorrow from the northeast. Could be feeling like Christmas breeze for sure. Jamaica is going to be getting on some of it, but we're talking about somewhere between 10 and 20 knots, maybe even gusting to 25 knots in some spots. But that's just Tuesday. Wednesday is when the brunt of the strong winds are going to be expected. We see the flow across the Caribbean from the east, going from east to west, and then curving to the south across the southwestern Caribbean right there. And if we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica, we're going to be getting on that northeasterly flow. This is what I've been talking about. So expect that relief rainfall to be lashing portions of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, maybe even making it as far as Trelawney, St. James, Hanover. And some of this could definitely spill into section of some southern parishes, maybe section of St. Thomas, section of St. Andrew, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We know the afternoon rainfall is more to occur across southern Jamaica, especially when we have that daytime heating, and due to the fact that the southern areas are not going to be experiencing the most in the way of winds, it's usually the north coast that gets in on the strong winds, and the winds are going to be intensifying the more we go through the day on Tuesday and head into Wednesday. Wednesday is when we're going to be getting the brunt of the strong winds. We're going to be seeing the Christmas breeze coming in for sure, so get ready for that. If we take a look at the upper level winds still coming in from the southwest. So any thunderstorms that take place definitely going to be wanting to remain and be pushed off right on the way back. So it's definitely contending with the low level flow from the northeast, upper level flow from the southwest. So it's definitely going to be fighting a zigzag kind of pattern, basically favoring the north coast in general with the upper level flow, as well as keeping the rainfall on that side of the island. But if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, these maps are concerning, especially for northeastern Jamaica. Definitely going to be starting to get on the brunt of the rainfall. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 12 a.m. on Tuesday. We're talking about midnight tonight. And we can see the rainfall for sections of St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, even section of Eastern St. Thomas might get on some of the mix. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls. Skipping ahead now to about 6 a.m. on Tuesday. What's the change? Nothing at all. Still see much of the same, especially across St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. Definitely going to be raining a lot. Definitely going to be bringing some isolated flash flooding, if not some amount of landslides. Skipping ahead now to 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Still seeing rainfall lashing Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James on the Euro. The GFS more confined to St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland as well as St. Thomas. Not so much the Trelawney, St. James, or Hanover. And now, by about 3 p.m. now, this is what we're seeing. Rainfall still going to be affecting St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland. But look at that, starting to incorporate sections of some southern parishes. Maybe sections of Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, maybe section of Hanover. And we see the GFS trying to incorporate section of the southwest too, maybe section of western St. Elizabeth into section of southeastern Westmoreland. Very interesting. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that during the afternoon, 3 p.m. But clearly we see that it's going to be an all-day thing for northeastern Jamaica, getting in on some amount of a rainfall. And we see even by 9 p.m. we still have a lot more rainfall to come for northeastern parishes for sure on both the UR and the GFS model. So it makes sense that both accumulated precipitation forecast showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on 10 p.m. on Tuesday. 3 on Wednesday is 10 p.m. on Tuesday. We can see the consensus, the dark greens into the yellows and to the oranges and to the reds. That represents anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall. Could definitely be more than that in some areas. Definitely going to be causing some isolated flash flooding, if not some landslides for sure, especially in these areas that have already been saturated in St. Mary as well as in Portland. And we can even make what that rainfall that the southwest could endure. Sections of maybe St. Elizabeth for sure. And we see that both the UR and the GFS models are in agreement with that. Alright, so we know the drill. In Kingston, we usually receive up to at least, I believe, 25 millimeters of rainfall for the month of December. That's 1 inch of rainfall. In Montego Bay, we usually receive up to at least, that's close to 4 inches of rainfall. That's around, let's say, 50, close to 100 millimeters of rainfall. Let's say 90 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and they'll show you that bar graph. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts the rainfall that we receive on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the numerous frontal systems plaguing the northern portion of North Atlantic. Definitely bringing some rainfall to section of the Bahamas. The trough still definitely lashing portion of Central America into northwestern South America. We're talking about Colombia, Panama, still getting on some amount of the action. So to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, into Belize and Guatemala, still getting on a lot of heavy rainfall as we speak. We can see the rainfall from the intertropical convergence zone pushing from east to west into French Guiana, Suriname, as well as Guyana, as well as even making it as far as eastern Venezuela. Some of this rainfall definitely affecting portion of the eastern Caribbean as well. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can definitely see that there are some hit or miss isolated shores in and around Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Barth, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of eastern Dominican Republic, the waters to the south of Puerto Rico. And if we load these images from around 1 p.m. today, we can see that rainfall to the south of Puerto Rico, across western Puerto Rico, the greens and the yellows as well as the oranges. Some moderate to heavy rainfall across those spots. We can definitely make out the flow of the rainfall from east to west for sure across the Leeward Islands. A lot of hit or miss isolated showers, nothing too drastic. But if we take a look at the Barbados radar, nothing happening across Barbados right now. We see most of the rainfall on the Barbados radar right there, passing to the south of Barbados, pushing from east to west into portion of Tobago. Not seeing much happening across Trinidad right now though. But if we take a look at what we have Doppler radar images, we can actually make out that heavy rainfall that's lashing portion of eastern Nicaragua, like what we saw in the infrared satellite images. Look at the high cold cloud tops. We're talking about the yellows, the oranges, the reds that represent some strong thunderstorms. And we can definitely see what's taking place on the Doppler radar images. You can also make out some isolated shores to the north of the ABC Islands, some rainfall across northwestern Venezuela, section of Colombia getting on the action too. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the UR and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. We can definitely see there's going to be a lot of rainfall in the dark reds, purples, pinks, represented 2 all the way up to the 5 inches of rainfall or more for portion of eastern Honduras, Nicaragua, section of Costa Rica, Panama, and we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that. We can also see rainfall anywhere from 0.1 all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall for a section of southern Belize, Guatemala, portion of northern Honduras, Colombia, western, northern, southern, and eastern Venezuela, sections of eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. We're talking about Anguilla, St. Bart's, sections of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, sections of the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, section of Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.